Hi, this is Dr. Graves with the CSUN Geography Department. This is a quick video tutorial to demonstrate to students how to take data that you have collected in the field using ESRI's Field Mapper and convert it into both maps that you can visualize the data that was collected and statistical analyses that you can do in ArcGIS online. First thing you need to do is to log in to ArcGIS online. If you don't see this already, California State University, make sure you click in here, and when you enter this, it's CSUN GIS. Remember it, continue, and then log in to California State University Northridge. I've already logged into once today, and so I didn't get the Duo push or the Duo notification like you normally do. Once you get to this window, if you do get to this window, click on Content. And if you have recently collected data, you should see it in these feature layers here. I was collecting data and it appeared in this web map. Yours may be different. If your parcel layer was somewhere else, you perhaps only need to upload or to add that parcel layer that you collected data on. It doesn't you can do it in a number of ways, but basically what you have to do is to get open the layer that you collected data on. So I'm going to open this web map here, and I'm going to open it in Map Viewer. And you get all this stuff that was part of the web map making process to begin with. And I don't really need the walking path. I don't need the interpolated data. And I don't need the intersections data. It's just the data that was collected in the field using the ARC Field Maps app. So this is what we want to analyze. What you are currently seeing, if I come over here to styles, is the attribute map of mean. And mean is a reference to the average crime rate in a sort of crimes per area of unit. It's an index, so it's not an actual crime rate, but a sort of comparative crime rate. And we want to analyze that as it compares to the two data collection points that you added in the field. So I'm going to, over here in the Styles menu, I'm going to remove mean, and I want to add a different field. The two things we were collecting were disorder, so I can add a disorder map, and there it shows up. And then I could take a look at a second field, and then that second field is fear. So if we add that, we get this sort of map that has both fear and disorder. And I think as I scroll down, that one of the maps we want to make is relationship. And so as one goes up, the other goes up. So as the disorder and the fear map both go up, so we could have a house that scored 5 on the fear and 5 on the disorder scale, and it would appear as brown. And those houses that were very low on both the fear and the disorder scale are light as color down here. Some of the houses were high-low, meaning they were high on the disorder scale, but low on the fear scale, etc., etc. And so that's one of the ways of looking at this relationship. And I would like it if you mixed and matched. What if we pulled off disorder and added back mean. And then you could have how a map of the relationship between the average crime rate expressed as the mean and the fear scale. And so you could have those places where there was a lot of fear, and with good reason, because the crime rate was high, and you see some of this on 54th Street. And then you could have some of those places where the fear scale was high, but the crime rate was low. So that's a visual way of expressing that relationship between the two. If you wanted to, you could also, you make a copy of this layer and then put it underneath where it's all grayscale or something in the background, so you could see this. But you see I have a nice spread of data collection across the entire survey field. Should have done a little better up here at the top of the hill. The other thing that I want you to do, in addition to visualizing that, and I encourage you to kind of play around with this stuff, is get screen grabs of this and be prepared to explain to me what you were trying to show. The other thing that we want to generate from these are some charts and some other kinds of graphics. So there it is, configure chart over here on the far right side of the menu. Click on that, and we want to add some charts. Generally, the first kind of things that we want to do is we want to understand the distribution of our data. So one of the really smart things to chart first would be mean itself. So what does the average dispersion of the average crime rate look like across the sample grounds? So turn on the overlays here and turn on the mean and the normal distribution and the standard deviation. You can definitely play around with these sorts of things. You may want to change the color on it. Since we're dealing with crime, maybe make it red, things like this. And you can spend some time editing it, changing around, renaming it, doing things. Take this opportunity to learn something about this tool. You may find yourself using it somewhere down the road. So that's one of the things that you really should have done. Let's add a couple of other charts. And I'm not going to give you all of the things you ought to do, but say maybe a pie chart. We could do a pie chart or two where the category is perhaps we'll do our fear categories. This is what I collected. It looks that 39% of the houses I observed, I assigned a fear scale of 2, and a quarter of them. But it appears that my data collection might have been poor because I had very few of them did I count as being top of the scale, and I have no 5s at all. And I didn't feel like I saw anything that looked that way, but clearly this is probably a sign that I didn't normalize my data collection. If I would go back through it again, then I would probably have to assign more of those 4s as 5s and more of the 3s as 4s, more of the 1s and 2s as 2s and 3s. So this gives us an idea about the quality of the data that I collected. And so we can add yet another chart. So I'm going to click back over here on configure charts and add yet another one. And the most important of these are our scatter plots, because the scatter plot diagrams give us the relationship between two of the data. And for your assignment, what I really want you to do is to make a scatter plot. On the x-axis is going to be crime, and so as on the x is generally the thing that's causing, and if the crime goes up, then we ought to see the fear go up. According to the theory that you read, the disorder should have caused the crime rate to go up. So when you look at the relationship between crime, expressed as the mean value, and disorder, that the disorder ought to be the x-axis. We'll do this one first here. And so here is the relationship between average, the crime rate, and the fear. And let's do a couple of other things here with this. I will use I want to show the linear trend first, and it appears, as you can see, there isn't much of a relationship. So only 1% of the change in fear is explained by the actual crime rate, and this is something you want to think about and talk. And then I'll make the symbol proportional to make it easier to see. We want to make that mean. So you can see that as these bubbles get bigger, that means the crime rate is going up. And if there is a stronger relationship between mean and fear, we should have seen more of these big bubbles up in the right corner and more of the little bubbles down in the lower left corner. And it's okay that way, but it really isn't a whole lot. And there's the trend line. We may want to just give that a little bit of a different color, and maybe make it a little easier to see. You can make it dots to dashes, something like that. Play around with this, learn something about it. And so I want you to make a series of these where you put either if you think crime rate should drive something, or I'm going to do one more and then I want to shut this off, is I'm going to add yet another chart, another scatter plot, and something else to consider. What if the age of or maybe something like the land value or total value of the house, things like that. Let's do the year built of the house at the bottom, and maybe we say that older houses should have more disorder. And then something like we'll make the year built. No, we can leave these. Maybe do this alone, or we could. And so, and then we have to, with this, look, is there a linear trend? Yes, there appears to be. There appears to be also a house that was built in the year 1, so we need to change the axes on that and make the minimum bounds. Okay, so that looks okay. Let's change that minimum bounds to 1930, something like that, and that cleans it up a little bit. And there we do see there's a little more relationship between the older houses actually have less disorder, and as the houses get newer, there is a little more disorder. So that might seem somewhat curious. So that's it for this video tutorial. Make sure that you get screen grabs of all of this kind of stuff and put it in your assignment.